Alright, hello everyone, Journal Luke here. Kicking off the warm-up here and daily race A of last week. I know this isn't the daily race of this week, so I'm a little behind in this video, but life happens. Anyway, so this race, everyone is in an Aston Martin, and it's a road car this time. I've almost been exclusively driving the GT race cars in almost every online race, so it was a little bit of adjustment to get used to a road car again, especially these Aston Martins have a lot of body roll. They feel very heavy, and so there's a lot of squatting and nose diving, and when you brake, and a lot of tilting and body roll just all together. You know, especially when you turn, you can see how much the car's tilting to the left there. So it's you got to keep that body roll in mind as far as throttle control and all that. And it makes for an interesting race, and yeah, the race you're about to see gets pretty chaotic, so as most daily races do. Alright, so we're heading off into Goodwood Motor Circuit, and I had pole position, fastest qualifying lap time, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. But notice that the person that's in the second place qualifying lap is a A-class driver. Now, I don't really know how to pronounce his username, so I'm just going to call him Z-Mal, because I think it's Z Malinowski, or whatever. He's in the orange Aston Martin, and he's an A-class driver, so pay close attention to him, because this race gets pretty interesting between me and him. Anyways, we're entering the first set of turns here, and you gotta let off the throttle a little bit on that little kink before the first major turn, and the Brazilian driver does not do that. He goes full throttle, knocks Z-Mal on the orange Aston Martin into me into a domino effect. So it may have looked like that Z-Mal rammed me off, but it actually was a Brazilian driver that knocked him into me. And you could see that if you watch that impact from that turn on the top right portion of the screen, but I'm getting way behind myself here. Let's stop talking about what happened way long ago. Let's talk about what's happening right now. So entering this turn up here, you can see about, what was that, like 3 people getting knocked off. And if you notice, Michaels was the username of that Brazilian driver that knocked Z-Mal into me earlier. He was one of the people that was involved in whatever the heck happened over there, and we got another Brazilian spinning out in front of me there, just lovely. Very chaotic first lap, isn't it? But yeah, if you noticed earlier, that Michaels guy definitely got karma, since, you know, not too long after he knocked that Z-Mal guy into me, he got wiped out, which whatever happens. And now we're going to see this blue car ahead of me, P3, goes way off the track there. I don't know what even happened there. Maybe he braked way too late, but I'll take it. It's an easy position, and he's just giving it to me for free, which basically happened with pretty much everyone on that first lap there. I mean, when the Brazilian driver knocked that Z-Mal guy into my car and knocked me off the whole track, I was getting worried that this whole race was going to be a pretty bad race. But, you know, I was pretty much just seeing everyone wipe out in front of me, and their own mistakes or collisions or whatever happened just caused me to get right back up to the front into the top 3 here. So just 1 lap later, I'm back in the top 3. I could have been in the lead, could have been better, but, you know, I'll take it. Notice how Z-Mal has actually stuck behind me this whole time too, and we're coming back up. Z-Mal's a pretty good driver. Like I mentioned earlier, I think he's the only A-class driver in this lobby, but I could be wrong on that. There might be one other one. A little bit of contact there happening in front of us between P1 and P2, so that's going to help us catch up right to them. We're going to have more momentum than them after that contact. Coming up into the second straight of this track, getting a little slipstream from P2 here. Z-Mal is getting the slipstream off of me. Us 4 are in a close pack together here. And P2 is going to wipe out on this turn. Must have hit the throttle too early or turned too sharp or something, caused this car to just wipe out. Had a little bit of contact with Z-Mal there behind me, but he's in P4 now instead of P2, so he didn't get too far behind. And it's still a close pack between the 4 of us. And now I'm just trying to focus on the one guy ahead of me so I can claim that lead, but Z-Mal is not holding off, and he's giving me tremendous pressure. P1's going to go wide. It's going to cause me to get a lot of momentum coming up to him. He went way too wide in that corner. Coming up into the straight, I'm getting the slipstream on him, And here we go. I just got to look for the right opportunity. Letting off the throttle there or else I would have hit him. Where is the right time to overtake him? So coming up into here, I'm trying to get the right angle on him. He's going to brake a tad bit too late. It's going to cause me to catch right back up. I'm going to try to go a little bit more tight than him on here, but we're still neck and neck. And Z-Mal is still right behind us. P4 has let off a little bit. P4 is slowing down. And P1 is going to go really slow through this corner, which caused me to have a little bit of impact on him. I don't know why he slowed down so much through that corner. So that's causing Z-Mal to be right behind me now, just 0.1 second behind me, just a tenth of a second behind me. So this is getting pretty intense. Leading up into this corner here, P1 is going to make the same mistake that he did in that corner back there where he slows down too much, causes me to slow down, and he slows down way too much in this chicane. And by that point, I was just like, dude, you deserve that because you've been taking these turns way too slow, and I don't want to deal with Z-Mal behind me with the guy in front of me going way too slow. With this A-class driver behind me, with me being a B-class driver, if you didn't already know that, I have to be at my best, and with someone in front of me just braking way too early on every single turn, I just couldn't handle that. So bear with me there. That chicane, I didn't just purposely ram him off, okay? I know a lot of you guys might think that, but I promise you I did not. So Z-Mal still staying within a tenth of a second behind me. He's right on my back bumper. This is getting very intense, and it's turning into just a battle between me and him now, as pretty much everybody else in this whole race is wiped out by this point. I don't know why this race got so chaotic. Everyone was just wipe out, wipe out, wipe out everywhere. And so now I'm just focused on Z-Mal and pretty much nobody else. And we got just about 1.5 laps to go here. And he's getting the slipstream on me on this straight here, leading up into probably the most tricky portion of series of corners here. He's taking the inside, and I should have claimed the inside a little bit earlier there. I tried to take just the most ideal driving line through there, but I should have adjusted. Anyways, I accidentally made contact with him there, and I didn't want to just take the position from him. I wanted to just let him get his position back there because I feel like I would not have a worthy overtake after making contact with him through the chicane. So I let off the throttle significantly to let him take the lead back. I just wouldn't feel right about that, okay guys? I do have a conscience, and I do try to drive clean. So I wasn't gonna ram two people off in the chicane in the same race. I mean, the other car deserved it, but Z-Mal, no, that was my mistake with Z-Mal. So that's why I let him take the position back. And we're still staying between a tenth of a second between each other, except this time I'm the one trying to play catch up instead of him, since he claimed the inside of that series of turns leading up to the chicane. So coming up to this turn here, I braked a tad bit too late, but I managed to hold off and not make contact with him, but that slowed me down a little bit. So now I got to get the slipstream on him on this straight to compensate for that error. And I am getting the slipstream off him. I'm catching up, and we're leading into that last series of turns for the chicane. On the final lap, we are in the home stretch. What is going to happen? So I'm staying right behind him, still very close, very close. Leading up into the last chicane, I make ever so slight contact with him, but it doesn't really do anything. Leading up to the finish line, but look at what happens here. Z-Mal wants to celebrate, thinking he won. And look at that. 9 1/1000ths of a second. 9 1/1000ths of a second ahead of him at the very last portion of the whole race. 9 1/1000ths of a second that I beat him by. Guys, this is why you don't celebrate too early. I don't recommend doing a celebrating e-brake drift towards the finish line when there's somebody a tenth of a second, or was it 2/10 of a second, right behind him. Oh my god. When someone's that close behind you, you don't do a celebrating drift. So, I guess I'm going to take my 40th victory here. And it really should have went to Z-Mal, but This is why you don't celebrate too early. Anyways, that's it for the video, guys. Race fast, race clean, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Game over.